So in this video I thought I would just show you how I create some texture on this landscape painting that I'm painting right now. So this is a painting in progress, and it still has a long way to go, but a big part of really building up this painting, it's applying some texture with the paint to get that really nice woody texture, especially down here in the trunk, which is more the vocal area of this painting. So I thought I would just show you a few tricks and tips on how I go about introducing this wooden texture in my painting. So I have mixed some new colors that you can see here. So I have a variety of colors here. I have some browns, some purples, some grays, some greens, some blues. Just a nice mix of different colors that are all existing together and hiding throughout this trunk. I really find that whenever I'm painting landscapes, there's just so many more colors than just blue and green and brown. You know, there's all these subtleties within color temperature and hue that are really existing together in the landscape. So this landscape, I'm painting it from a photo, so you can see here in the corner, you can see a little bit of the photo that I'm working from. I don't only have one photo because I like to be able to work and really see and understand the anatomy of the scene that I'm painting if I'm working from photos. It just makes it a little bit easier. This tree, it is a tree that I know very well. It's a place that I visited many times, and it's a spot that I'm really fond of, and I really love this tree. This is actually quite a huge tree. It might not look like it at this point in the painting because there's not that many surrounding elements to really implement the size of the tree, but this is actually quite a large tree. So if I was here standing, then I would, and I'm quite tall, I'm like 175, then I would probably be up to here somewhere. So it's this entrance that you can see right here. It's actually possible to walk into the tree. It's like a completely hollow tree. So it's a very magical tree, and it's a tree that I love a lot. And so yeah, I wanted to paint this tree for a really long time, so I know it quite well. Also right now it is it's early March, so all of this greenery, it's not here, and I really felt like painting a green scene, so that is also a reason why I'm working from photos right now. So I'm going to continue to paint on this area right here, this kind of lower midsection of the tree. I think this is really going to be the focal point of the painting, so it's where I will put the most attention. And whenever I have an area where I really want there to be a lot of attention, I also usually implement a lot of texture and thicker paint to really draw the attention to that area of the painting. So to help me apply a little bit more texture to this area, I have a variety of brushes. So you can see my brushes right here. So there are some filberts, there are some classic rounds, but what all of these brushes have in common is that they're actually quite worn, they're quite old. And this is something I really like to recommend, and it's something that I like to do whenever I am painting something that is a little bit more rugged, a little bit more textured, something that, you know, if you think about the texture of a big old tree trunk, you know, it's very layered, it has a lot of irregularities, it's not a very soft, smooth surface, so I don't want to use fine, soft, smooth brushes either. I want to use brushes that are rougher and that can help me really explain that rough surface texture of the tree. Okay, so I've just zoomed in a little bit so that you can see a little bit better how I'm going to apply this texture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the paint quite thickly. So I'm going to really load up the brush that I'm going to use with paint. So I'm going to start with this area right here, and then I'm just going to work a little bit and explain how I'm applying the texture. So for this I'm going to use a classic round. It is let me see, it's a Raphael brush. It's a bristle brush, and so it's quite coarse, it's not a very soft brush, and it's a size 4. And this one I've had for quite some time, so it's a little bit worn in the edges. Okay, so again, here you can see my palette. The color I'm going to use is this one, so I'm just going to add a bunch of that on the brush. Hope you can see how I'm doing this now and that I'm not holding it too wobbly. So here I have the paint, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay it on, moving down, trying to replicate this woody texture. So when I'm doing this, also I'm not using any medium. I'm just working with pure paint to get the paint as thick as possible. I actually don't use a lot of medium when I'm painting in general, because I like to work with oil paint just straight out of the tube. I think it's flexible enough to do that without any problems. So this painting has already undergone a couple of layers. I already painted a couple of layers. I painted the underpainting, and then I also painted I just mapped out with my color mixes more or less where the large areas of color were placed on top of the underpainting. But apart from that, I haven't really done a lot, and I also haven't done a lot of textural painting, if I can call it that. So I haven't implemented a lot of texture yet. So that is really what I'm going to start doing now. I probably have to go in and I probably have to do this a couple of times to get the desired pop that I want from the texture. But I just keep applying it like this. And let me see, a couple more. Okay, so now I want to implement a little bit more of a darker color in between this lighter color, because right now I think it's looking a little bit too flat. So I just applied a little bit of that on my brush. Slightly warmer color that is, it's more or less the same value. It's not like a lot darker, a little bit darker maybe. Just tapping my brush a little bit to also leave a little bit of that paint on the canvas a little bit better. And down here also I have a little bit more of this. It's kind of like a greenish blue actually. It's a very soft greenish blue, so I'm just applying that also in the same way with the brush. It's a very characteristic bluish green that is usually found on trees that have a lot of moss, so older trees that have been around for a while in the woods. Okay, so now I've just applied with the slightly larger brush a little bit of that bark texture on the trunk here on the side. And now what I'm doing to just enhance it is I'm going in with a slightly smaller brush. It's also a bristle brush, so it also will leave a little bit more texture. The brush mark will leave a little bit more texture. And then what I'm doing is I'm just going in and I'm just making these vertical brush marks that mimic the bark texture. And then I have some slightly brighter areas right here as well. So I'm going to add those ones in with this slightly smaller brush. I already have some darker greens here that I'm just going to leave where they are, and I'm just going to pull out this slightly brighter value that is kind of hiding or coming out, poking out in between that dark green. That just explains where the barch is showing through the moss a little bit better. And it's just poking out in some areas, not everywhere, but it's just very, just coming out, and it's just a little bit more, how do you say, apparent as well in some areas on the tree. I don't want to paint it everywhere where it's appearing. I just want to put the focus on it some places to make it more interesting. So yeah, this is really just the beginning, but this is how I really start to pull out this wooden texture on a tree. And then I'm going to just keep on doing this, going back and forth in between the lighter and darker values and applying more paint where it's more textured, and then I'm going to, after I've done that, also start working more on the background. But yeah, I thought it would just be fun to pop on here and show you really how I go about this this type of thing, so that you can see how I like to paint wooden texture if you are working maybe on a landscape yourself. So yeah, I really hope you found it helpful. If you would like some more oil painting tips or advice, or if you would just like to follow along on my own painting journey and you would like to see some more progress videos from my studio, then I invite you to subscribe to my channel and also to click the small bell icon so you always know when I'm posting a new video. So yeah, thanks for checking out this video, and I wish you lots of inspiration and happy painting.